We do question number 2. I'm going to draw a circle, but then I'm going to end up erasing it. So I just don't want you to get frustrated by that. A circle centered at the origin, 0, 0, has a radius of 17 units. So something like that. Now, the reason I draw that is because I want you to see how you can also see that there is the hypotenuse of a right triangle in the radius, and that we can draw a line to the x-axis and get the right angle, and then have the sine and the cosine, the sine of the y value in red and the cosine in blue. Okay, I guess I don't need to erase the circle. The terminal side of an angle theta intercepts the circle in quadrant 1 at point C. So this is quadrant 1. And that would mean that this is point C, where we intercept the circle. On other problems, they might land us in other quadrants. So we have to be aware of that. Maybe on another question, we have to do something like that in the third quadrant. Okay. Now it tells us that the x coordinate at C is 8. So that's the blue value here, is the x. What is the value of the sine? Okay, so remember, sine is so sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. Theta is the angle here. The opposite is the red side that we don't know yet. And the hypotenuse we see is the radius of the circle 17. Now, because we have a right triangle, we can use the Pythagorean theorem, which says a square plus b squared, each of the legs squared, equals the hypotenuse squared. And then we can substitute. One of our legs is 8. So we have 8 squared plus the leg that we don't know. We'll call that b squared. If you wanted to think of that as y, because that's going to be the y that you're finding, that's fine too. Equals the hypotenuse squared. Now we need to evaluate the exponents. This is a really ugly 8. So 8 to the second power is 64. So 64 plus b squared equals 17 to the second power is 289. Now from there we can solve for b. We need to subtract 64 from both sides, and then we'll know b squared, and we'll be on our way. So 289 minus 64 equals 225. This is canceled over on this side, and we have b squared equals. So we have something squared, so we can figure out how long b is by taking the square root of both sides. So b equals 15. So that means that this y value, this y coordinate, 15. Now finally, we have to find the sine. The opposite over 17. Well, we just found that the opposite is 15. So our sine is 15 over 17. Notice that we're in the first quadrant, so x and y are both positive. As I said, if we landed in a different quadrant, like if we were in the second quadrant, and then if we had to use the cosine value, the x value here, that would have been a -1. So just be aware of the sign that you're using based on the quadrant that you're in.